TV News.
Hundreds of people gathered across the nation to show their support for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. Good evening, I'm Genevieve Glass.
And I'm Robbie Aronson. The U.S. Supreme Court heard testimony today for and against the controversial program. In Washington, D.C., Trump's team argued the program is unconstitutional since President Obama bypassed Congress and issued an executive order. Proponents of DACA said DACA recipients do great things for America. Protesters gathered outside of the Supreme Court and here in L.A. Students walked out of school to show their support for DACA. Reporters Felicia Tapia talked to protesters.
Hundreds of students across Los Angeles walked out of class this morning. They rallied in support of Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. Their program protects about 700,000 undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children. At John Marshall High School in Los Feliz, students hopped on a bus or walked to the federal building in downtown Los Angeles. There, they joined DACA recipients and other protesters. Jasmine Ramirez is a student at Cal State LA who arrived in the U.S. at the age of 3.
As a DACA beneficiary, I think it's important for us to come out and really voice our opinions and rally our friends, our families, our colleagues, anyone that's willing to support our education. I want people to know that it matters, that we're contributors of society, we're getting educations, we have jobs. We're the same as any other American without just the privilege of being born here.
There are walkouts occurring across the state, but the students here downtown are going to march to MacArthur Park, where there will be events and concerts happening until 8 p.m.
Community members also joined the rally. Carla Ortiz is the daughter of an immigrant. She brought her 2 daughters to join the protest.
I see they're waking up. You know, there's a lot of youth here, and they're waking up. It's amazing. It's great. Yeah. My mom's been here for 25 years. And she has not been able to get some sort of documentation. So it hits home. It hits home. Many immigrants need a job, need education. We come here because we want to succeed in life. We don't want to be like someone that is not going to be a part into the society. We want to do something in life. And I think, the voices are being heard, I think.
Ortiz hopes these young people keep up the fight. For Annenberg Media, I'm Felicia Tapia.
Annenberg Media's Chase Beach is live at MacArthur Park, where students and protesters have gathered in solidarity with DACA recipients.
Thanks, Genevieve. I'm here at MacArthur Park at the Levitt Pavilion, where recipients of DACA, students, and protesters have concluded their day of marches. It's a historic event. It's been a historic day, and I'm actually here with a DACA recipient. Raquel says, Raquel, come on over. Raquel is a recently graduated student, and she's also a volunteer with CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights in Los Angeles. Raquel, can you tell me a bit about what this day has been like for you?
Yeah, so this day has been very inspirational, empowering. We had over 400 to 500 high school students walk out from over 11 different high schools across LA County. So it's been very powerful, and more than anything, many of these students, it was either their first time protesting or marching, and they were super excited and pumped, but they also understood that they needed to stand by their fellow peers who may be a DACA recipient or maybe undocumented, or their principal or their teacher, that their job may be at risk if they're not eligible or able to renew their DACA.
Right, and as a DACA recipient yourself, can you tell me what DACA has meant for you and to you?
Yeah, so for myself, DACA has been very, it's been making me very mobile, and it's allowed me to work and also access internships, fellowships, which many students sometimes don't have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Raquel. Thank you for sharing your story with us. So the party will continue here, and we're for Annenberg Media. This is Chase Beach. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chase. And one student protester spoke with Annenberg Media about today's march and what DACA means to her.
Really what this program means to me is just my livelihood, because I can't not have a social, I can't not have a work permit, because then I can't work. If I don't work, I can't pay for school. If I don't pay for school, I can't go to school. If I don't have rent money, I'm homeless. I actually didn't know I was undocumented till my senior year. I went home and I asked my mom, and I was like, hey mom, these colleges are asking for something called the social security number, and that's when me and my mom had to sit down and have that conversation where it's like, hey, you're actually not documented, and that was the first time I had ever even understood what undocumented was. It's just been a struggle watching my mom work for, these companies that exploit her. Like she ran away, she escaped Mexico because she was in an abusive relationship with a man that was very powerful. Femicide is really big in Mexico, and now it's time for us to fight for our parents.
Community leaders are urging DACA students to renew their membership and stick together as they face the challenges ahead.
Here at USC, there are 3 scholarships and other resources that help undocumented students, but many are worried about a Supreme Court decision that would end DACA. Annenberg Media's Isabel Castillo has one student's story.
USC sophomore Luis Thun came to Thousand Oaks at the age of 6 from Yucatan, Mexico. He remembers crossing the deserts in the arms of a man with a rabbit running by his side. He is one of 75,000 undocumented college students in California.
When I started to realize what undocumented meant,
Thun applied for the California Dream Act, an application that helped him qualify for financial aid. He then enrolled in USC last fall as a political science major. He didn't need DACA until he graduated in 2018.
Right when I was gonna apply and I realized I needed a job, I needed to get some form of income for myself, that's when President Trump came inside administration, and that's when he removed DACA.
Not being a DACA recipient has hindered Thun's professional growth. He hasn't been able to apply for all internships and was denied a job as an orientation advisor.
And I had gone through the whole process, 3-round interviews, gotten the job, and then they had to call me in and tell me that they weren't going to give me the job anymore because I didn't have a social security number.
USC's immigration clinic provides legal support to undocumented students like Thun.
The president has expressed support, and so there's a positive belief that, through this president, perhaps we can get something more institutionalized.
Today, President Folt tweeted #ProtectDreamers.
The failure to have a Dreamer Center sends the wrong message.
Thun feels like more has to be done.
Really, at least make some form of small remedies to assist these students and this population on campus.
Thank you, Isabel, for that story. It was really, really good. As an undocumented student yourself, how's your experience been at USC so far?
Definitely, it's been really hard to get internships as an Annenberg student just because all require work authorization. So I've had to really do my learning in the studio with Annenberg Media.
And can you tell us a little bit about what emotions has today covering this story brought up for you?
Yeah, I think it's brought an element of just understanding and just really trying to cover these stories for my community and also for others who don't really know too much about undocumented students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
DACA is a program created in 2012 by President Obama that protects young undocumented immigrants from being deported. President Trump is trying to end this program because he says it's unconstitutional.
Ultimately, the question is whether or not the president can terminate a executive action such as DACA, and I think the answer is yes. And what I'm reading from different accounts of the hearing this morning is that the Supreme Court justices do seem split or divided, but that the ultimate question is, can they review the president's decision to end DACA in the first place?
The court's decision will affect the approximate 700,000 recipients of the program. Roughly 80% of those protected by DACA are from Mexico. And California is home to the largest number of DACA recipients, with the majority of them in Southern California cities.
9 USC